Good morning and welcome to the latest edition of Everything is Racist, because everything is racist and it's really crazy. Today we're talking about the Elks National Veterans Memorial, because if you live in Chicago, especially in Lincoln Park, Lakeview area, you've probably walked by this building. I walk by it all the time. I never knew what it was, so I decided to look it up. It's not an elk museum. It is officially known as the Elks National Memorial and Headquarters Building, and it was planned by the Benevolent and Protective Order of Elks. They built this because they wanted to honor members of their order who had served in World War I. It's a pretty big deal as far as war memorials are concerned. They imported all this marble from Greece, Austria, France, Belgium. They hired a bunch of prominent American artists to work on it. And the Chicago Architecture Foundation says that the memorial is often described as one of the most magnificent war memorials in the world. So this building is kind of a big deal. That's the memorial part. It's also the headquarters of said group. So who are they? The Benevolent and Protective Order of Elks, the BPOE, which also sometimes stands for Best People on Earth. Keep that in mind. They are an American fraternal order founded in 1868. And so they kind of do a lot of stuff. I don't have time to get into everything that they do. I kind of think of it like the YMCA, the YMCA and YMCA centers. So they have elk lodges, and the lodges are places where neighbors come together, families share meals, and children grow up. So they do a lot of programming for kids. They promote a drug-free lifestyle. They do a lot of stuff with veterans. We'll just keep it at that for right now. So, okay, why are they called the Elks? Where did they come from? They were started by an Englishman named Charles Algernon Sidney Vivian. So he came over to New York from London in 1867 to basically try to be an entertainer. He founded a group called the Jolly Corks, and their website says that the name was derived from a bar trick that he came up with. I think there's a little bit of wordplay going on here, because the Jolly Corks, as a group, their whole thing was blackface minstrelsy. They were a blackface group, and burnt cork was one of the ways back then that you could darken your skin if you were doing blackface. I think the Jolly Corks is there's a little bit of a double entendre there. The group never really took off, and a few months after they started getting together, one of their members died, rip, leaving his wife and children destitute. And so then after that, they decided they needed a more noble purpose, and that's where they get into this whole okay, we're gonna support veterans and do all this community service stuff. They wrote up a statement of purpose, and then they chose the elk as their symbol because they wanted a readily identifiable creature of stature indigenous to America. And there's this whole thing with them as it relates to American nationalism, patriotism, civic duty. I don't have time to get into all of that, but if you guys want to know more, I will happily do a follow-up, because I think it's really fascinating and I could do a whole analysis of that. But in conclusion, for now, that memorial, one of the most magnificent war memorials in the world, in the middle of Lincoln Park in Chicago, exists because this British guy in the 19th century came over here to do blackface. Isn't that crazy?